you planning a trip to Disneyland Paris anytime soon? Or perhaps you already have one booked and you're thinking, what do I need to do before I go on this trip to make sure that it is the most magical and the most successful trip that you're planning? Then if that is you, I have you covered. Continue to watch and I am going to show you absolutely everything that you're going to need to do and know before you go on your trip to Disneyland Paris. I'm Stephanie. I am the mum of Life with the McMahons, and I am currently doing our Disney series as we are going to Disneyland Paris in October. I want to share all the expert knowledge that I have to help you plan your most magical trip ever to Disneyland Paris. Now, not only that, travelling with kids as well can be stressful. You don't know what you need to take, how much stuff you need to do. So I am going to help with that stress and make sure that you know exactly what you're going to need. So when to plan your trip would be number one thing to think about. So if you are like us and you have kids, you will have to stick with school holidays. Now if you don't have kids with school holidays, absolutely amazing. You want to have a wee look at different times when it's not going to be so busy in the parks. But like us, we do have to stick to the school holidays, so that can be a little bit more tricky because it can put the price up a bit. Now, please bear in mind when you are booking, we're in Scotland, so our holidays are completely different to England, as well as Wales, Ireland, and also the France times as well. So make sure that you are having a wee look, because even that you are restricted to summer holidays, it might not be summer holidays, for instance, in England. So it might be best having a wee look if you can travel where you're going to be wanting to travel from, because it might bring the price down a little bit on that as well. The other thing that you are going to want to is you want to take into consideration what the weather's going to be like. Now, if you are someone that does not like the cold, doesn't want to wrap up when they're in the parks, then you're probably best to stick to spring, summer, to make sure that you're definitely guaranteed that weather. If you're going to go in November, December, January, even sometimes February, it is going to be a lot colder and possibly snow and rain, so please keep that in mind when you are. And the other thing that you're going to want to take into consideration when you're planning your trip is the seasons. Now, if you are a huge Halloween and spooky season, then you're going to want to go on Halloween. That might not be for you, so you might want to go when it's the princess season, or if there is any other seasons that you like Christmas, then you're going to want to maybe have a wee look and see. And if you're lucky on the dates that you can go, you could maybe end up you're in one season and one day in the park, and then when you go back the next day, then it is a different season. So we have done that before. We've been there the very end of September. We've been there with what it has been then, and then when we went back to the parks the next day, then it has been Halloween, and they have just transformed it overnight, and it is just so magical. So definitely have a wee think about that when you are planning your trip. Okay, now you've got your dates, you know when you're going to go. So what you want to do now is think about your accommodation. So there is different types of accommodation depending on your budget that you have. So the first type that you have is on-site. On-site hotels you book through Disney, and you're staying on-site in Disney. So with that, you have the perks, you have the Disney theming, you have all the magic that comes with that, and you also have other perks as well that I will go over. Then you've got off-site partner hotels. Now these are hotels that aren't that far from Disney, so they're not far to travel to and from. They are still relatively close, but they will all have, majority of them will have a free transport to and from the parks. So you can get it up in the morning, get the transport, takes you straight to the parks, and again when you come out at night you can jump on one of the buses and get straight back to your hotel. Now these particular ones will be partners of Disneyland, and they are approved by Disneyland Paris. Then you have third party. So you can book that through third-party websites, and there is loads you could have. For instance, you could get campsites, you can get caravan sites, you can get hotels, you can go self-catering, bed and breakfast, Airbnbs. There is so much, apartments. There's so much that you can do as well. It really does depend on the budget that you have. Now, the perks that you're going to have staying on site is, like I said, you have the theming, so you have that magic. You also have characters that come at a selected time. Some of the hotels have them in the morning, and some of them will have them in the evening. So you just check at reception at that day. They'll have a little poster telling you exactly what time then they will be coming, and you can go and meet the characters before you're going into the parks, came back from the park. The other thing that you will get with staying on site is you are going to get use of early magic hours. Now, early magic hours is where anyone staying in a Disney hotel can go into the parks 1 full hour before the actual parks open to the public. Now, not all rides are open, but you are going to have your princesses at the Princess Pavilion. You're going to have, you can go and line up for Mickey to see him. You'll have other characters dotted around, so you could go and see them before you go. You're going to be in the park before absolutely anyone. So for instance, if you were to go on Buzz Lightyear, with that you could maybe do 3 rounds, one after the other, where later on that is a ride that is going to get very high in times. And the same, for instance, with Big Thunder Mountain. Now, since the Avengers campus has opened in Walt Disney Studios, that is no longer opening for early magic hours. However, get into the Disneyland park, do what you need to do, and if you are going to want to be spending the day over in Walt Disney Studios, then head over when the park starts opening to the public. Okay, so now that you have when you're going, where you're going to be staying, next you want to think about is transport. Now, there is many ways that you can get to Paris from where we are. So with that, there is a few options that you can consider. For ourselves, we would be flying. So flying is the best option for us, because we would have to drive quite a bit to get to London in order to go on the Eurotunnel, or again for the Eurostar. So for us, it is cost effective for us to fly. Now, this time, like I was explaining with the holidays, we are in holiday the week that we are going. However, they are not in holiday in Manchester, so it is a lot cheaper for us to drive to Manchester and get a flight from there. So absolutely have a wee look around. If you are able to travel to a different airport than what your local one is, it could make a huge saving in your price. It is literally, you sit down at on the aeroplane, and before you know it, it is time to come off. So flying is a very quick way to get there over to Paris. Now, as I said, you also have the Eurotunnel. So the Eurotunnel is where you will go on the Eurotunnel with your car, and then you're going to go all the way over to Calais, come off there, and then drive down to Disneyland Paris. So you would get the Eurotunnel at Folkestone, and you're going to go over to Calais, about 35 minutes crossing, so very, very quickly. Then once you come off at Calais, you're over about 3 hours drive to get to Disneyland Paris. So if you're wanting to make sure that you all have a nice road trip and you want to take everything with you, maybe you don't like flying, then if you are down that way, that is a fantastic way of travelling, and very quick as well. You also have the ferry. You would get that from Dover to Calais, and you would be taking your car on the ferry. It goes around 90 minutes to cross over, and then again you've got just that over 3 hour from Calais to Disneyland Paris, which is going to be your drive to get there. So you've got the same drive once you get to Calais, but if you want to factor in what way would be best or price comparison, you've got just over 90 minutes on the ferry, or you've got around 35 minutes on the Eurotunnel. And then lastly, you have the Eurostar. Now, the Eurostar Different to the Eurotunnel. The Eurotunnel, you take your car on, your own transportation. With the Eurostar, that is you going on as a foot passenger. Now it is very quick. It takes 2 hours 49 to get there, but it is going to take you directly into Disneyland Paris. So with that, you're walking out and you're straight into the Disney Village. So absolutely, if you don't want to be bothering with any other kind of transportation, you just want to get from there and straight into the parks, then that is also another amazing way to get there as well. We've never done anything but flying. My sister, my mum and brother-in-law, they have done the ferry over. They thought it was a great drive, had no complications. We have always hired sometimes a car when we're there. So again, Peter has drove over in France and never found it a hassle. But we would love to do the Eurostar one day. I think it would be a great experience just hopping on there, quickly over and straight out into the parks. But for us, we are going to be flying. Now, that takes me on to the next point. So if you are going to be flying, what you then want to think about is transfers when you get there. So first of all, you're going to have to think about transfers or transport getting to the airport. So it may be that you want a private transport that will take you to the airport. You can also have the park and stays, so you can leave your car there while you're away. And then you also have the option of a taxi, Uber, or someone taking you to the airport. So for us, we are going to Manchester, so we're going to drive down to Manchester. We're going to park the car in the car park at the airport, and then we will just fly over. Once we get into Charles de Gaulle, that is where we're going to need another transport to get us to the hotel at Disneyland Paris. Now for us, I like to travel sometimes by getting a car, so it can be easier. If you've got the kids and that, you may want to be going back into the hotel if you're staying off site. So with that, it can be handy, and sometimes round about the same price as private transfers in order to get around, so it is handy. The other option you have is you can book a private transfer, so where you come out of collecting your baggage and they're standing there with a nice little plaque with your name on, take your bags, they get you on and they get you straight there. Now we have done this many times, and we done that on our last trip as well. Now we always use Prestige. Now they have changed their name to Western Tours, but it is the same company. If you have a wee look on their website, you can get one of their private transfers. Highly recommend. They are fantastic to work with. I've never had any problems with them. And you tend to get, with their bigger cars, they will have a little slide down screen for the kids that they can watch a film, so it kind of keeps them entertained as you're getting your things together to get checked into your hotel. So absolutely would recommend them. You also have Uber as well, which I know a lot of my friends have used and says that they have not had any problems with it. You can also get the train as well, which can be so easy. You just go to the train station, get it over, not a hassle, just buy your tickets when you're there. And then also you may want to get the Magic Bus that will take you as well. Sometimes you can find with the Magic Bus or the train, it is just the same price to get a private transfer. And with that, if you do have small children, which we love, is they will bring a car seat. So it meant that we knew that safety was there and we didn't have to take our car seat with us. So it's definitely something to weigh and price up when you are looking, but you do have loads of options. Okay, now you are in Paris and you also have all your transfers sorted. What you next want to plan, if you have booked directly with Disneyland Paris, it is very quite possibly that you already have a package with your tickets, but please just double check. Now, with there being two parks, you have the Disneyland Paris park, and then you also have Walt Disney Studios. So with your Disneyland park and your Walt Disney Studios, they are classed as two separate parks, even though they're walking distance within each other. What you want to do If you don't have in your package that you have with your hotel, then you want to make sure that you are booking your tickets. Now you can do this directly through Disney, or you could do it through a third party, but make sure that you do have your tickets. If you're wanting to access in the one day to go into both parks, you need a hopper ticket. If you don't have a hopper ticket, you can only go into the park that you are booked into for that date. So please make sure these are things that you are checking when you're sorting your tickets. If your tickets, there is other options. As I say, you can book it for a selected date because you know that's the date you're going. But if you don't know what date you're going, then you can buy an open ticket. But you, again, when you know the day that you're going to be going, you do need to book that date online. If you don't have a reservation, you will not get in the park. And at the moment, the way it is fully booked from first thing in the morning. So just to make sure that you are not getting any barriers when you get there and not getting into the park and having upsets, make sure that you do have your tickets for the parks that you want to go into for those dates. The other route that you can go down is annual passes. Now annual passes again do have to be booked, so please make sure that you are booking your dates. You can book 3 days at a time on your annual passes. All the information is on the website. And with that, if you're going to be buying an annual pass once you get there, you do need to still book a day pass, and they will take the amount of the day pass off your annual pass, but you do have to still have a date booked and a ticket to get into the park that day in order to get your annual pass if you're not doing it to go beforehand. So these are all options that you do have, and yeah, the magic is starting because we're going to be going into the park. We've got our tickets. Okay. Now all the boring bits, but the essential bits, we need to make sure. Passports. Make sure that your passport is in date, because there is nothing worse if you look at it in the last minute, you don't have a time to get a renewal or a new passport when you need it, and it's just going to cause so much stress. No, we don't want stress. So what I want you to do once you've came off this video is please just go and check your passport. You're going to need 6 months remaining, and also it needs to be no more than 10 years from the date it was issued. So make sure that you have your passport in order to get there, because if you don't, it is just going to cause you so much hassle. So please, it'll take you 2 minutes, go and check your passport. Don't say I haven't warned you. Then you're going to need your travel insurance. So make sure that you have your travel insurance. It could just be for the time of your trip of going, or if you're taking out an annual one. But also make sure that you are checking the fine print to make sure everything is okay for going to France, and that you're fully covered if any health conditions of that have been changed. Have you updated your insurance? Because the last thing you want is something to happen when you're over there and you're not covered. So just check the small print. It takes you 2 minutes. Okay, your online check-in. If you are going to be flying, you can do your online check-in, which will save so much hassle for most people. It is normally EasyJet, and they will allow you to do it 30 days before you go, so when you get there it is just straight through you go. So yeah, if you can do online check-in, make sure that you are looking at when you can do that and have it all pre-done before you get to the airport. And then you are going to need to fill in an EU PLF form. Now this can be filled in online, and it's just to track all your information and details. So make sure that you have that done before going to France as well, because it is a necessity to have that done for going. Next up, you're going to want to do is have your apps that are going to make your life that little bit more helpful when you are in Disney. So the first one you are going to want to do is have the Disneyland Paris app. Please make sure it is the official Disneyland Paris app, because this is the one that is going to give you all the correct information. Now on here you will find lots of information. You're going to find out a park map, where things are situated, where characters are going to be, where restaurants are, where the restrooms are, where water stations are. You're going to have all this information on there. You're also going to have the ride times. It's going to give you the correct up-to-date ride times, if a ride is closed, when it's going to be opening back up. It's going to give you all that information. You can also book your restaurants on there as well, so you can use the app in order to book your mobile service, which means any of the quick services that have that on the app, you can order it and then just go and collect it, which is so much quicker than queuing. And also you can book your reservations for your dining as well. So with dining, you have character breakfast at Plaza Gardens. You also have a dining at Plaza Gardens with the characters as well, which, trust me, you want to book. It's amazing. I think I will do another video on all the restaurants that we have done, from quick service to character dinings and sit downs, just to give you a little bit more background on there. But if you do want to have a sit down restaurant meal, you do have to have that booked, so you can do that on there as well. Now, if you are staying in a Disneyland hotel, you can, and it's directly through Disney, it has to be directly through them, they will allow you to book 60 days in advance for your dining, if not 30 days in advance to all the public. And again, as I said, you do that on the app. Now, you do have another app called Magi Park. Now, this is a great one because, again, it is giving you your wait times and things like that, but you can make a nice little list of all your favourite rides that you like on there. And with that, if it does shut, it will send you a message to alert you that that ride is now opening back up. So it is just another one. Some people prefer it to the Disneyland Paris one, some people don't. So it is just worth having and having a wee check on both of them as well. And then we have the new Disneyland Paris Celebration Quest. Now, I've not tried this myself. I will be trying it when we go. It is just a brand new app for Disneyland Paris. What it is you go on a quest through the park. You will be asked to find things on buildings or certain places, kind of like a little treasure hunt, and then you will use, once you find whatever it is they're asking, you will use your phone, take a picture, so make sure that you allow access to your camera for it. Just go into your location settings and change that, and with that it will then unlock, and once you have unlocked so many, it then unlocks a special filter that you can use. So just a little bit of fun if you've got while you're walking around the parks. Why not give it a wee try? It's free to download and free to use. Now, you can't do much on it when you first download it, if you download it here, because you have to physically be in the park for it to open up all these different bits for you to use. As it says, dining reservations you can book on there as well. And then next, what you want to check once you've got all your apps downloaded is make sure that your phone is going to be able to be used when you are there. The last thing you want to do is come home and be absolutely stung with a huge bill. So make sure that you just check with your mobile provider that they have the roaming and that you're going to be able to use it when you are in the parks as well, which is amazing. And then when you are over there, make sure when you go into the park, whilst you're waiting to go in, just log into their Wi-Fi as well. Now, next up, my favourite bit. You've got everything planned, you've got everything booked, you're now excited, you're like, yep, we're definitely going. You then start the outfit planning. Now, outfit planning for me is the most exciting bit of it. And I know me and the kids have had so much fun thinking who we're going to be, what costumes the kids are going to be doing, and what characters they're wanting to take, because they have loads, so they're going to be taking them with them. And then also, as adults, cannot dress in costumes, but you can Disney bound. Disney bounding is dressing up in, say for instance, a dress colour of your favourite character or your favourite attraction. Like, there's loads you can do with it, and there is loads on Disney bounding. But if you're not into that and you just want to have a nice pair of ears and yeah, or a nice Disney hat and just wear your nice comfy clothes that you're going to be wearing that you feel comfortable in, then that is perfect. absolutely just do you, do what makes you happy, and enjoy doing that part of it, just getting everything all ready. Next, you're going to want to have a think about your luggage allowance. If you are going by car, it is just fill up as much as you can. You might want to have a wee play around of where you're going to fit things in order to be travelling, to make sure you all fit in, as well as everything that you want to take. If you are flying or going by Eurostar, then just check with the provider that you're going with of what luggage you have, and then that will let you know when you are planning your outfits of what you can take with you, so you're not getting any charges when you get to the airport. You do not want them to say, oh, before you go your holiday you have to go and pay X, Y and Z. So just make sure that you're checking your allowance that you have. Then lastly, but certainly not by least, you want to have a little sit down, make a plan of what you're going to want to be doing when you go in the parks. Now, I am not saying that you need to have a time by time of what you're going to be doing at each and every second when you're in the parks, because that is just not going to happen. But if you have a good idea of what everyone in your party or what is important to you to do, then you can make sure that you can tick them off your list. Now, that may be a spot for getting the perfect picture, the perfect family pose. That might be one that you would do. I know I always like to know exactly what kind of pictures I want, so when I come home I've got them and I know I've had them done. The other thing is what rides. What might matter to you planning this might not matter to your little ones or your teenagers or the other people in your party. So have a sit down, make a night of it, have a look at the map. You'll get all that on the Disneyland Paris app that I have told you to download, and just enjoy it, make it fun, make a list of what attractions, where you want to get pictures. Is there any characters that is a must do that you really want to see when you go? If there is snacks, because the snacks are unreal, so you might have a list of snacks that you want to try and tick off your bucket list, and just make a little list on your phone, so when you go, to make sure that everyone has the best holiday and does something exactly what they want to do, then you can just have a wee look and say, right, that's what we're going to do. And make sure that you tick them off before you come home, or at least the majority of them. But having that there before you go, it means, you know, when you see these things, then by all means you can go and do them. And then most of all, just enjoy it. Just enjoy the planning, enjoy your holiday, and just have the most fantastic and magical time, because it is just so much fun doing all the planning. But when you're there, just enjoy the magic, soak it all in, and just have the most fantastic time. So I hope you have found this helpful. If you have, I would absolutely love it if you could give us a subscribe, because we are going to have lots of more videos coming, and then we're going to have our vlogs of when we are there, and we wouldn't want you to miss any. So by subscribing and hitting the bell button, then you will make sure to not miss one. And also, if you did like this video, I would absolutely love it to get a big thumbs up, just so I can see if you like this kind of content, and I hope you are going to stick around to see the rest of what we have coming. But thank you, and I hope you have a magical day.